Hi, I'm Earl. I'll be your server this evening. I'll give you folks some time to look the menu over. Just a reminder, all the entrees come with your choice of soup or salad, side vegetable, and a small bowl of cold hard cash.
When you shop with Retail Me Not, you find money everywhere. Coupons, deals, cash back on everything, like electronics, travel, clothing, and restaurants, at your favorite places like Best Buy, Macy's, and Kohl's. It's kind of a big deal. Visit the site or get the app. Retail Me Not, yours for the saving.
Hi, I'm Earl. I'll be your server this evening. I'll give you folks some time to look the menu over. Just a reminder, all the entrees come with your choice of soup or salad, side vegetable, and a small bowl of cold hard cash.
When you shop with Retail Me Not, you find money everywhere. Coupons, deals, cash back on everything, like electronics, travel, clothing, and restaurants, at your favorite places like Best Buy, Macy's, and Kohl's. It's kind of a big deal. Visit the site or get the app. Retail Me Not, yours for the saving.
Uplifting lives one day at a time. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. They're here to get your day going fine. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio.
And here's your host, Miss Kim Robinson.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Angel Sessions. I am an international and national recording artist, singer, and songwriter. I have a new single out called No Fear, released December 1st, 2016, and it is on all online stores where music is sold. So please go check that out. And also, I want to give a shout-out to Kimmy Kim with Elations Radio and Jerry Royce at PositivePower21.org.
Come on, Welcome, everyone. This is Cynthia Newell, and you are listening to the From Powerless to Powerful podcast. I am so delighted to share your Saturday afternoon with you. And again, thank you for tuning in. Today we have a great show lined up for you, but I just want to share just a little bit about me so you'll know who you're listening to. Again, I am Cynthia Newell of Dare to Dream Spiritual Life Coaching Practice, and I partner with powerless feeling people and teach them how to walk powerfully forward toward a life that they've always imagined. You can learn more about me and connect with me at my website, which is CynthiaSNewell.com. And while you're there, make sure to grab a free copy of my ebook, Creating Your Life. Now, you should contact me if you're ready to release internal struggles effortlessly and walk in newness. That's what I do. I help you rise and win. And I want to welcome you again to Season 2 of the From Powerless to Powerful show. Now, this season focus on expansion. We are expanding our faith, our hope, our consciousness, and our awareness, just so much more. Last show, I had the awesome Alicia Johnson of Always Journal on, and she walked us through how to connect with our hearts through the power of journaling. And if you want to catch the replay of that show, you can go to my Facebook page, From Powerless to Powerful, and there's a link listed there for you. Now today, again, just a little bit more about expansion. A lot of times we want expansion. We want to experience expansion in our finances, in our family, sometimes in our emotional our emotions, our mental capacity, but rarely do we understand the journey of expanding. I know that when I ask God to enlarge my territory or help me expand, get stronger as it relates to relationships or my emotions, I never imagined the path that I would have to take to get there. Typically, when we ask to be expanded, we have to brace ourselves, and this is something that I learned and lived. We have to brace ourselves for a series of events and experiences that will invite us to release and embrace the unfamiliar and interact more closely with the unknown. And that can sometimes be scary. You know, if we just look at the concept of expansion, and we look at what's happening down in the southeast with Hurricane Irma. As that storm expands, it becomes more dangerous, more violent. So expansion, it has its good and its not so good points. It feels good when you can look at your life and you can see the things that you have collected and that you have worked hard for. But that journey to getting those things can be tough. It can be trying. It can make you doubt, you know, yourself and your beliefs. So I was looking, you know, in the scriptures in 1 Chronicles 4:10, where Jabez cried out to the Lord, God of Israel, oh, that you would bless me and enlarge my territory. How many of us pray that? Enlarge my business, God. Increase my finances, God. Help me to connect with more people, God. Help my brand to get out there. Enlarge my territory. Let your hand be with me and keep me from harm so that I will be free from pain. And God granted his request. Now, it's my belief that God always says yes to what we pray for. That's just my belief. However, the manifestation and the journey to what we ask for is going to be one of pain. It's going to be one of tears. It's going to be one of hardship because of the expansion. He didn't want any. He wanted to be free from pain, and sometimes you have to feel pain so that when you get to where you're going, you won't be so easily affected by painful situations. Let me just make it clear and plain for you. So if you're asking for a business that's financially secure, stable, you're going to go through a lot of broke seasons because it's going to strip you in your mind. It's going to strip away from you the mindset and the concepts of what money and what those things can really add to you. And you're going to get to a place of expanded awareness where you can appreciate something small that you may have not even appreciated before those series of events. So, I really hope you grasp that, So what do you do in between the time that you've prayed the prayer and the manifestation of your request? You got to have faith. You got to have faith because the force of faith will give you the staying power when you feel like quitting. And it'll help you maintain your focus when you want to look at what somebody else is doing, compare yourself and what's not working. It'll help you focus on what is working, how far I have come. So I love what Marianne Williamson says about faith. She says, faith is not just a theological principle. It is a mental and emotional muscle. And so I say to you that faith is a very necessary ingredient for every area of our lives. It is the most important strength to have, not only for building the big things, but for the seemingly little things. A few months ago on my Periscope series, Life Support, I talked about what does your attitude say about your faith. And I shared an experience that I had a few years ago where I had an opportunity to be in front of a larger audience, and I didn't have the money to do it, but I was going to walk by faith to believe that it would manifest. But I remember the very next day after I made the declaration that I am going to be on this show, I remember sitting at my desk and I was slumped over and my head was in my hands and my foot was shaking. You know how you have that nervous shake when you got something really on your mind? And if somebody would have walked past and saw me, they would have said, "What's wrong?" And in that moment, God tapped me on my shoulder and he said, "What is your disposition saying about your faith? Is it saying that you believe that all things are truly possible to them that believe? Or are you saying, I'm defeated, I got to figure this thing out? And I then asked God, but I'm still over here scratching my head trying to figure out how I'm going to get from where I am to where I desire to be. So I ask you that question, what does your attitude say about your faith? We are always believing in something. And what we believe determines what we do. And so today we're talking about this far by faith. You know, we have all been through some tedious journeys. We've all overcome some hurdles, and we have further to go. But sometimes we can forget where we've come from, and where we're trying to go now in life looks so, I'm going to use my favorite word, insurmountable. It looks impossible. It looks daunting. It's frightening. But we can get there, and we shall get there, and you must have faith in order to get there. So today we're going to be talking about this far by faith, and we are going to be joined by a special guest, a dear sweetheart, after the break. So when we come back from the break, we're going to talk with Miss Ashley G. Scott of Crowley College, who, you know, when I share her bio, you're going to see that she's done some amazing things. That's why I tease her and call her Amazing Ashley sometimes. You know, but she's done some great things in her life, and it took faith for her to be able to do those things. So we're going to take a break, but before we take a break, I want to invite you to answer the movie trivia question. So I'm a movie buff, and I just love movies, and so I have a question out there for you that I want you to answer, and you will be entered into a drawing to win a special prize. I don't know what that is right now. Maybe Ashley will give something. Maybe I'll give a copy of one of my books away for free. I don't know, but you could go to the Facebook page From Powerless to Powerful, and you'll see that I posted this question about 2 hours ago, and it says #movie trivia. And the question is, name the movie where 3 African-American women served as the brains behind one of the greatest operations at NASA. And I know that's easy for you all. So go like the Facebook page so you can answer the question and be entered into the drawing. And then meet us back here after the break so that you can listen to a powerful conversation with Miss Ashley G. Scott. All right, so I don't know if we're experiencing some technical difficulties. So we're going to just go ahead and move forward with the rest of the show. And I would like to welcome Ashley G. Scott here, founder and CEO of Curly in College. Now, I just want to say a lot about Ashley. I was going to say a little bit, but a lot about Ashley. All right, so Curly in College, it started in 2014 as an online destination for students who were seeking the latest news on natural hair care and related lifestyle trends. And in 2015, the brand expanded, becoming the first and now largest national network of student organizations that celebrates and supports those who are bold enough to navigate a life with curls on campus. Ashley attended Purdue University, and she also manages a consulting firm that provides community outreach and integrated marketing communication services to nonprofits, governments, small businesses, and social enterprises throughout the U.S. In addition to that, she is a former TEDx presenter. Sorry, my English. She's also a top 10 under 40 winner and the WYCA Woman of Distinction. And Purdue Outstanding Young Alumni Award recipient. If you would like to learn more about amazing Ashley, you are welcome to visit her website, which is ashleygScott.com. Did I get it right, Ashley?
Yes, you did great.
Awesome. Welcome, Ashley. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing so well. Thank you so much for having me, Cynthia. I really appreciate the invitation.
Oh, you know what? Thank you for accepting and being a part of the show, you know. So we have a lot to talk about. I love conversation, and I'm going to tell you, I thank God for this platform because it allows me to get out that conversationalist in me. You know, I love juicy conversation, and I love to learn, and I love to teach. So I'm grateful to Kimmy Kim and Elation Gospel Radio Network for the opportunity to, you know, do this podcast every other Saturday. But, Ashley, let's talk about you. You have done a lot of great things in your life, and that's really commendable. And so my question to you, my first question is, in your own words, because I know that it took faith to start something, to start from scratch. So in your own words, how would you define faith?
Oh, wow. That's a big question. I think for me, faith is just kind of having trust in God, having trust in, things unseen, unknown, kind of believing in yourself and in your ability, and knowing that God's got you no matter what. And so for me, when it comes to the work that I do, I try to follow my heart. I try to give back and do work that I think matters and can help others. And so because of that, because I stay in that lane of service, I try not to question whether or not something is or is not, right for me to do. I know it's right, but my doubt comes in when I start to wonder, wow, is it possible though? This is kind of big. Can I do this? So that's when faith really comes into play for me.
So when you started curling in college, where did the idea, how did that get birthed in you? The conception of it, where did it come from?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I actually started curling in college because I had a horrible transition from relaxed to natural hair myself. I got my first relaxer when I was in third grade. And from that point forward, I did not know what my natural hair texture felt like. And even at that age, I remember, being tender-headed. And so my mom would always complain when she had to do my hair because I would cry and run around the house and try to avoid, having her comb through my natural texture, and I would get burned with the straightening combs. And so when I got my first relaxers, the complaints shifted from me being tender-headed to me having a sensitive scalp. I would get scabs and burns from my chemical relaxers, as many of us as women of color have dealt with in the past and still do today. So when I got into college, I decided that I wanted to get as close to my most authentic self as I possibly could. And I kind of started my journey of self-discovery, right? That's when I started journaling a lot more. I've always journaled, but I started heavily journaling. I did a lot of reflection and started to try to process and make sense of who I was as a young adult. And my hair was another area that I wanted to kind of stop getting those relaxers and see what my natural hair texture was like. And so I decided that I wanted to grow it out. I transitioned slowly, but I let my mom continue to get in my head, and she said, are you sure you want to do this? You might not be able to get a job after you graduate if you keep your hair natural. Or, she was really doubtful, and a lot of people in my circle were actually. And so I let her talk me into going to a stylist when I went home for break. The stylist lied and said that she had a chemical process that would make my hair softer and easier to manage. But in fact, it was, she said she had a natural process, not a chemical one. But, and I trusted her because my mom's best friend went to her and all of her daughters went to her. And when I got in the woman's chair, I found out that the process that she promised was all natural was in fact a chemical. She applied a texturizer and she applied it incorrectly. And so my hair started to fall out in clumps. And that was kind of when I had to big chop unexpectedly. I shaved all my hair off, went to a barber, got a fade in a lineup, and I looked in the mirror and I had to face my true self. I had to face a woman that I had never fully embraced or known. And so from that point forward, I decided I wanted to make sure that no college students went through what I went through. I wanted to make sure they felt supported when they made the decision to be their best self. I wanted to make sure they knew where to go and look for resources and hair products, and I wanted them to realize that they're not alone going through that experience and that there are others who they can relate to and connect with. So that's how we started as a blog. Students from all over the country shared their story online, and I encouraged them, obviously based on my own testimony. And then from there on, we expanded because they said, hey, it's cool to write about this, but we really want to have these conversations face-to-face as well. And we piloted our chapters at Rutgers University and the University of Cincinnati. We started with 2 schools. Last year we expanded to 8 schools, and this year we're on track to hit 16 campuses by the end of the year.
That is amazing. That is so wonderful. Oh, my God. I had a question, and it just slipped my mind. So when you say chapters, what types of things do the chapters do? Do you all host like big events every so often? Do they have intimate circles, where they share and talk about their challenges? Tell us more about, like, if a young lady wanted to become a part of it, what she could expect, throughout the year.
Yeah, absolutely. When we have our chapter meetings, they often kind of start talking about hair, and that is the first draw, but when you get people together and they're in a safe space of, with like-minded individuals who look like them and understand their struggle, the conversation goes all over the place. They start talking about love and relationships. They talk about health and wellness, everything related to, self-discovery and just getting to that point of, high self-esteem and self-confidence. And so I always tell people, I'm never going to, like, force anyone to go natural, or, I'm not going to be telling you that this is the only way. You can never wear weave or extensions or braids or anything. But my point is, I hope that you get to the point where you understand that embracing your natural hair texture is an option, and it's not one that's going to hold you back from success in any way.
Right.
And so a lot of people have doubt and worry about that, just like my mom saying, oh, you might not be able to get a job because the workforce doesn't accept natural hair as professional, right? And I just feel the more individuals who are confident and clear on who they are when they walk in the workplace with natural hair, they'll kind of make room for others who want to do the same.
Absolutely, absolutely. So describe some of the challenges that you faced with getting your brand, Curly in College, off the ground and, getting some momentum behind it, some steam.
Oh, yeah. That's where the faith comes in, I think. Understanding, that you have a personal mission. Like, for me, obviously, my goal was to encourage others, but and I enjoy the logistics and the business planning, but I think when you get introduced to the idea of entrepreneurship, you're like, oh, yeah, everyone tells you, the first thing people warn you about is, oh, it's going to be really hard. And you're thinking, well, I've done hard stuff in my life. Like, that's okay, But the level of intensity that when they say hard, what they really mean is that it is a life-changing experience. It will push you to your limits. It'll drain you to the core. It'll take all your money and time. It could make you question your decision to why did I do this in the first place? And so for me, those were a lot of the challenges that I faced. It wasn't so much of, people tend to get the idea and they support it and they understand what I'm trying to do, and the students have an awesome time and, they get a lot out of it. But the challenges I found really had a lot to do with me and my own just self-confidence, because I would start to wonder, well, am I good enough, or is this good enough? I tend to be a bit of a perfectionist, as I think many of us are, and I would kind of, second-guess my decisions, or I would take forever to do something because I want to get it right the first time. And, And so, I think for me, that's where that faith comes in, is saying, no, God has blessed me with this idea. He's put me in a position to manifest it, and I need to get out of my way so that he can do his work. And, the company can be of service to others. So I've been constantly trying to check myself and having conversations with you. Everyone who knows me knows that I have, I believe in mental health days. I believe in, giving yourself time to reflect and process what's going on in your life. And I just thank God for you, Cynthia, as a life coach, as a coach, and a spiritual mentor who can help others kind of process and reflect on the decisions that they've made, whether they be in relationships or financial decisions or business decisions. I think having safe places to go and share is important. And so you've provided me that space, because as a founder, as an entrepreneur, I can't just go talk to my team members or my even my chapter members about what I'm personally struggling with or experiencing. And I think it's important for us to find those relationships and those safe places to have those conversations.
Absolutely. Well, I thank you so much for trusting me enough, to share and be vulnerable. I know that vulnerability, it scares a lot of people, but I have personally learned, and I teach that, being vulnerable, it gets you to the truth quicker. And we know that the truth is what makes us free, you know. And so when we are open and willing to admit what it is that we're really feeling or struggling with or experiencing, then that's when we can allow God, the Holy Spirit, to come in and just flood us with resources, spiritual resources. I mean, scriptures and words and teachings that you've heard, you know, many, many moons ago. That information will just all of a sudden just surface for you, you know. And so it's my personal mission to support and partner with individuals to help them get to the truth quicker so that they can move on and go further in their life. And I love it. You know, I love it. And, you know, just I love that piece. You were talking about the entrepreneurial piece. I mean, that's a whole nother, and I hate to say it this way, but that's a whole nother beast, you know.
Yes, it is. It really is.
And when you're, it looks glamorous on the outside, and you do have the freedom and the liberty to do kind of move how you want. But it's nonstop, because even if you're not physically doing something in or for your business, your mind is always thinking, how can I improve? What can I do better? What can I invent? What product or service can I offer? You know, and so it's a journey that only, I say, chosen people will be able to walk it. And to walk it, you have to have faith. You know, when you're car is being repoed, or, you know, I've shared openly my experience when you're being evicted, you know, because you quit your job and because you believe in this vision that God has shown you, and you've quit your job and the money is not coming in as fast as you saw in the vision. Like you thought you, like Alicia says, you thought you were going to go from 0 to 60, you know, and that just was not the case. And how do you still keep momentum and drive and passion and zeal to keep building when it feels and it looks like life is just knocking you down? And it's like trying to tell you, no, you're crazy. This is not what you're supposed to be doing. But I would encourage anyone that has a big dream, a vision, if it's a book, if it's a business, even if it's just a small sister circle, you know, do it, because I've personally learned now, having been out of work a second time since the end of 2016, that God will indeed provide your needs. And I'll share this, just talking about expansion and faith. I remember I put a vision board out on Pinterest, and I put the car that I wanted, which was a 2016 Chevy Impala. And I didn't get the Impala, but I got the Malibu. And I was okay with that. But now that we're in a season where we have more going out than coming in, I came to the decision that that car needs to go back, you know. And when you talk about faith, and when you talk about expansion, and when you talk about truth, and when you talk about personal mission, your vision, your calling, you're not willing to let anything get in the way. And so one of my prayers were, Lord, I want to release all burdensome debt. And right now that feels like a burden. I mean, it is a burden because the income is not there. And so when you go through your journey of expanding, your capacity to be able to let go of things, that expands as well. Your capacity to be able to see truth quicker and see how it applies to your life, and know you can always get another car, or you can always get another this or another that, you know, but this is where God has you. And don't worry about, I don't know who I'm talking to, but don't worry about feeling embarrassed, you know, people seeing you come up and then you came down and then they don't know what's going on with your life. It is not for them to know. All you know is that God gave you a vision, and some things will be added and some things will be removed, but he'll bless you with greater and better. So trust your process while you're on your journey to becoming, growing, and developing and building, you know, the vision that God has given to you. Anything that you want to add to that?
I mean, I think that's all really great advice. I think a lot of people, my closest friends, know that one of my secret alter egos is Organized Ashley, and I don't particularly feel like the most organized person all the time, but one thing that I did launch last year was called the Declutter Cleanse, and it's exactly that. It's just understanding that you don't need things to feel whole or to feel successful or to feel or to prove to anyone that, you know, I have it all together. Like, that does not define you. And I've also had, you know, the similar experience of feeling like, oh, well, I'm not in a position to go out and buy, you know, the Louis Vuitton purse that I want or whatever. But that doesn't mean that I'm not blessed or that I don't have what I need. It just means that I'm choosing to put my resources elsewhere. And so I think a lot of people, especially nowadays, are materialistic, and they do get caught up in the aesthetic of, especially entrepreneurship, because we only see the glitzy, glossy side half the time. And they think, well, when I become an entrepreneur, I'm going to look like this. But really, you know, it helps just to do what you said, to have people help you focus on truth and on get to that truth quickly. You'll realize that it has nothing to do with the material side. It has everything to do with kind of that, the blessings that you're able to give to others. So I'm excited for you and for myself and for everyone else who's thinking about refocusing and realigning their space in their life to make room for that new thing, whatever that is. And, you know, I still have a long way to go myself to let go of things. I have a lot of stuff that I've just held on to over the years thinking, well, what if I need this? But really, I have to remember and have faith to trust God that if I need something in the future, it will be provided.
Yes, and that's absolutely true. And again, for those that are just chiming in, I am your host, Cynthia Newell of Dare to Dream Spiritual Life Coaching Practice, and we're talking with a special guest, Ms. Ashley G. Scott of Curley College, about This Far by Faith and how faith is a necessary ingredient just for your everyday life. I mean, you need faith for just about everything, because you're walking in faith in everything that you do. You're either believing in what could go wrong, or you're either believing in what could go right. And so, you know, faith, a life without faith, it's impossible to please God. The Bible tells us that, and it's impossible to get anywhere when you don't have faith. And so I just want to encourage somebody. I'm going to just flow with the Spirit. I want to encourage someone, you know, who feel as though you're stuck. And you say, well, I don't know what to have faith in. What I've learned is have faith in the fact that you can get unstuck. Start there first. I can move from this rut and get over to where I just have, you don't have to try to figure out how or when or nothing. Just have enough faith to know that you can move, you know, that the situation can turn and that it will turn. And that's a great place to start, because when you start there and just believing that it can happen, what happens is it starts to produce hope. And, you know, if you don't have any hope, you could just really, it makes your heart sick, and it just makes you depressed and not want to get out of the bed. So I just want to tell you to have faith in the fact that you can, or it will turn. So I have another question, Ashley. What shifts in your thinking did you need to make in order to accomplish being a part of the TEDx presenter, being one of those? What shifts? Because I know that doubt is a monster. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, my gosh. Yes.
Who do you think you are to get up in front of all these people? What do you think you're going to tell them that they don't already know? Ooh, it's just a beast.
Oh, I know. That was a mess. It's actually hilarious that of all things you just asked me about that. That's like that's one of those things that you have to like mention that you did, because it's so cool. But I actually was at one of my, I don't want to say my lowest points, but I was like really overwhelmed at that point in my life. And I was, it took a lot for me to actually get to the point of speaking on stage, so much so that I look forward to the day I get to redo that experience and actually do it the way that I see myself when it comes to public speaking. Because in that moment, I had written my speech, and instead of having it memorized like you're supposed to do with TEDx, I had to read it from my phone because I finished it the night before, because I was procrastinating and so fearful and so overwhelmed. And I was working in a position that I actually really loved. At the time, I was the operations manager of a co-working space. And I loved it. It was also the same season that I had birthed my business, Curly in College, and I had a great network of people who supported me and helped me to actually bring that dream and make it a reality. But when it came to self-confidence and the fear that surrounded me in that moment, I was shifting. So I was kind of being pushed out of this comfort zone of being an employee, of doing just doing what others told me to do, to being called by God to actually do what He has asked me to do, and understanding that I could make a living doing that. I was preparing to buy my home at that time. I wanted to move into a new city that I didn't know anyone, and I wasn't ready to do those things yet because I was afraid. And so in that moment, as I was writing that speech and as I was preparing that through that whole process, I was so afraid because, yes, I thought, well, what do I have to tell anyone when I feel like my life is a mess right now, And I had to remember that, like, the people that we respect the most or that we put on these high pedestals, whether they're celebrities or, our pastors or just our loved ones or friends, even our parents, they act like they have it all together.
Right.
But they are just as challenged as the rest of us. And so I had to remember that, like, I still have value. I still have a story to tell. I still have love to give. And so in that moment, I had to shift my thinking. I had to decide that I was going to share words that I hoped encouraged someone. And so I ended up speaking about just basically on pushing through as an entrepreneur and not being afraid to actually do what it is that you have faith to do. And I think I was talking specifically about people who talk about change and people who actually create change, and not getting stuck in that dreamer space where you're just like talking about it and actually pushing yourself to do it. And it was just the most weird, interesting message because that was what I was telling myself. And then that's exactly what I got on stage and told others as well.
Those usually be the best messages because you know that you're talking to you, and you talk with such fervency and passion, and it's just like you really want yourself to really grasp that, and so the audience may think that burning desire is for them, but it's like, really, I'm talking to myself, get this, and I really believe in the value that self-talk offers. We have to talk to ourselves lovingly and not beat up on ourselves. Or when we make a mistake and fall, trip, or we could have done something better, definitely be true and honest with yourself. But you have to begin and end with self-love. And so the mind does not respond that way. The mind will have you start talking to it negatively. It's going to make you do more things to talk to it that way, and then you'll feel horrible, after that, So that's a great experience, to be able to get up and push through. A lot of times, like you said, the people that we look up to, I was looking at a documentary about Whitney Houston, and it told a totally different, it portrayed a different Whitney than what we saw when she initially had passed away. And she was sitting in the dressing room, and she was crying, and she had concerns with her hair, and she had self-esteem challenges because of her weight, but she's out there singing, and everyone, her fans are probably looking at her, thinking that she has this wonderful life, but she was sad because of things that had happened with her father, some other things that had happened, how the media, talks about her. And so we all, no matter how much money we have or how little we have, we all have those hidden places in us where we secretly ask, am I good enough? Can I really do this? Am I qualified enough? And, of course, we know the answer is yes, but sometimes that other side of our mind that tells us no gets so loud, it's hard to turn it off, So I commend you for pushing through that.
Yeah, one thing that came to me too earlier I wanted to share is that I remember I get overwhelmed often. Like I think that's something that I know about myself. I'm sure a lot of us do. And one of the reasons that I originally had reached out to you when it came to coaching, or continued to reach out to you, I should say, is because you had great advice around setting your intentions early in the day. And so I remember you would tell me that you get up and go on a walk every morning, and that's kind of your quiet time with God. And so and your advice for me was like, okay, well, you need to get up early, but, journal. And that is a way that I kind of connect to God and just share my prayers with him in my writing. And that, I think, focusing early on in the morning and kind of like keeping my mind clear and setting those intentions early, it really does help to stay focused and to just to like remind me that, this is what I want to accomplish this day. And so I don't get caught up in the fear and the worry and, the complaining and the negative self-talk. I try to really just set that goal from jump so that I can be focused moving on. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Thank you. And if anyone who is listening needs support in that area, go to my website and get a free copy of the ebook that I have out there, Creating Your Life. It deals specifically with setting intentions, the anatomy of an intention, and how to create powerful intentions. So go grab your free copy. It's just a 6-page book, but it's loaded with information for you to support you in that way. Sometimes I find that it's easier to have faith in the perceived loss or hardship rather than in the possibility of a miracle. Have you ever experienced that, like where you can have faith in? Can I take your giggle as a yes?
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
So do you mind sharing how you worked through that?
Yeah, I think I think for me, particularly as our company grows, there are just so many unknowns, and I think a lot of people can relate to that, especially entrepreneurs. I mean, even as a young woman, aside from being a business owner, like, I'm not married yet. I don't have kids yet. So it's like, how do you have faith that you will have, be married and have children? How do you have faith that your business will be successful when you have no idea, how you're going to get there? And you have no control either over the person, over that aspect of the situation. You have to just pause and trust God in that moment. And so for me, I think having faith in the unknown or the failure, like I can tell you how things are right now or how things are going to be if I don't get my way. I've spent so much time thinking through, well, what are you going to do if this happens? And it's so easy because that's something that I have control over is me and my behavior and my actions. But I think making sure not to kind of dwell in that space. I have a lot of friends in my circle who keep me in check, who always, I tell them specifically if I'm having one of those days where I notice I'm getting kind of caught up in negativity. It's kind of how I refer to it because I just think it's not adding value in any way.
Right.
And so they kind of check me. They'll be like, okay, Ashley, so, how's your day going? And, what else? They'll ask me questions that I know will kind of reset my thinking and get me back on track.
Yeah.
Or I'll reach out to people that I know who can help. For example, I often reach out to you on those days like, oh, I'm thinking about this and I can't get it out of my head. And, you'll help me to refocus. But I think the most practical piece of advice or just a trick I guess I could share is I keep a list of things to do. I write down everything in a planner and a notebook and a journal, and I focus on what I can do to put myself in the best position so that I have an opportunity for success. And I even joke about that. Like, I was like, well, I'm not going to meet my husband just sitting at home, so let me get dressed up, look cute, go out with my girlfriends. Or if I'm thinking about a business idea and I'm like, well, I don't have, the money to invest in this right now. And, I'm so busy, I don't have any time. instead of focusing on those things, I'll think about, okay, what can I do to push us forward in that moment? And so that item will go on my to-do list. So that's kind of how I handle it.
That's good. That's good. And that really works. And if you're just tuning in, you're listening to the From Powerless to Powerful show with your host, Cynthia Newell of Dare to Dream, and I'm talking to my special guest, Miss Ashley G. Scott of Curley in College. So, Ashley, what's next for Curley in College? Do you all have anything coming up?
We do. We are continuing to expand our campus chapters. So if you know of a student or are a college student who's interested in learning more about how to embrace your natural hair while you're in school, I highly recommend you go to curleyincollege.com and click on our campus chapters tab to see if we have a chapter at your school. And if not, you can apply to start one. So that's our main focus at this point, and we're just looking forward to working with more brands who want to reach out and promote their products and services to college-age students. Yeah.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. Well, I hope that, you continue to experience success in everything that you do, that you'll continue to walk by faith and you'll continue to trust God. I just think back to when we first met, I had interpreted a dream for you. That's another gift that God had given me, and you have reached out to me for support in that. And then our friendship or relationship, partnership, let me say that, just expanded and went on from there. And you hired me as your coach to support you with some things, and I just admire how much you've grown. And even we're always growing and evolving, but I just see the growth. And so when I was preparing season 2, and I thought about faith, and your name just instantly popped up, and the email, I said, it's time to share. It was just, I just thank God for your growth and just where you are and where you're going to go in life. You have everything within you to be a great mom, to be a great wife, to continue to build your brand, Curley in College, to start even more businesses. I just encourage you to continue to trust your gut, trust your gut, and follow that still small voice in your mind, and you're going to end up in some really great places, even more, and naysayers will come. Let them come. But you know what, God has commissioned. You know what your personal mission is, and so just continue to trust that and do all that it takes for it to manifest.
Absolutely.
Thank you
so much. I promise. As long as you promise to keep coaching me, because I think a lot of people have to understand that we're not meant to go this road alone. I really believe in the power of community and building your network so that you don't have to be good at everything. You have help, and I am thankful for you to help me on those days when I need that encouragement, that extra push, and that clarity to get to the next level, because you have many gifts. Dream interpretation is one, but just being able to discern spiritually is another. And so I hope that more people take advantage of your gifts, because you truly have been a blessing to me, and I am constantly telling folks to reach out, because I know you'll be a blessing to them as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ashley. And for everyone that's listening, don't miss the chance to win a great prize. I don't know what it will be this time, but go to the Facebook page From Powerless to Powerful and answer the movie trivia question. It's listed there, and it's a very everybody should know this, but the question is, name the movie where 3 African-American women served as the brains behind one of the greatest operations at NASA. So go there, answer the question, and then if you're on Periscope, follow me on Periscope. My handle is Cynthia S. Newell, and every Thursday I'm there for life support, where I am teaching you how to strengthen your spirit man so that your ego does not take over and destroy your life. And then if you go to my website, CynthiaSNewell.com, there's a lot of good free information there. But I have a teleseminar coming up, which is next Wednesday and next Thursday, the number one way to resolve internal conflict. And so I want you to sign up for that, so that you can release the internal struggles that you have and you can walk free and start waking up to a life that you love. Now, we talked about the possibility of miracles, and next show, which will be on the 23rd, I'm going to have my sister girl, Leela Simmons, Empress Leela Simmons. She's going to be on talking to us teaching us how to manifest miracles, and so you don't want to miss the show. You can always get the replays on the From Powerless to Powerful Facebook page, so make sure you like it, so you can be kept up to date on what's going on there. And if you really liked today's show, be sure to leave a comment on the Facebook page. And if you're one of Ashley's friends, just let her know how great of a job she did today and just how proud you are of her. And until next time, I hope that you all will make it a great day and be blessed. Bye, Ashley. Enjoy the rest of your day, hon.
Thanks, Cynthia. Have a good one. Appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
In the middle of the storm, thought I'd never make it through. I had given up, figured what's the use? See, my nights were long and cold. Oh yes, they were. And I felt so all alone. Yes, I did. I threw the towel in. I thought it was the end, but you stepped in, yes. You saved me. Oh yeah. You saved me, yeah. You brought me out. But I couldn't find my way. You saved me, See, I fell so deep in sin. Yes, I did. Oh, and misery became my closest friend. Yes, it did. I tried to break away, but Satan said there was no way. And I thought I never will, but you saved me. Ooh, you saved me, yes you did. Oh,
Hi, I'm Earl. I'll be your server this evening. I'll give you folks some time to look the menu over. Just a reminder, all the entrees come with your choice of super salad, side vegetable, and a small bowl of cold hard cash.
When you shop with Retail Me Not, you find money everywhere. Coupons, deals, cash back on everything, like electronics, travel, clothing, and restaurants, at your favorite places like Best Buy, Macy's, and Kohl's. It's kind of a big deal. Visit the site or get the app. Retail Me Not, yours for the saving.